Hello and welcome to today's ASMR video in which I will tell you how life began on planet Earth. Billions of years ago, a combination of chemicals somewhere on Earth's surface created a substance that could soak up energy and reproduce itself. It was the first living organism, and this is the beginning of life on Earth. Planet Earth was formed from a cloud of space rock, dust, and gas. For millions of years, it was a mass of hot molten rock with a poisonous atmosphere. But eventually, its crust cooled to the point where water could form vast oceans. The shallow fringes of these oceans were probably where life began about 3.8 billion years ago. Here we have 5 short stories that will give us more information about the formation of life on Earth. Here is a picture of early Earth. For 500 million years, Earth was a giant furnace of hot rock, constantly bombarded by asteroids and meteorites. As each lump of space rock crashed into the planet, its energy was converted into more heat. But these impacts also delivered chemical elements that were to be vital ingredients of life. As the planet cooled, huge volcanoes filled the air with toxic gases. But they also erupted vast quantities of water vapor that cooled and fell as rain, filling the oceans. On this picture we can see lightnings, and they may have then triggered chemical reactions in the water, forming complex molecules that were able to make copies of themselves. And it was the basis of life. The chemical processes that were essential to life needed to occur in a protected place. And this was provided by a substance that could form tiny bubbles. And these were the first living cells, microscopic packages of life that become bacteria, the simplest surviving life forms. That life needs energy. The first cells used chemical energy, but about 3.5 billion years ago, cells called cyanobacteria started using solar energy. They use it to make food from water and carbon dioxide. And then they released vital oxygen. A similar bacteria created these stromatolites on the coast of Western Australia. That is on this picture. It is likely that the first living cells developed in warm coastal pools of salty water. However, life may have begun in the deep ocean around hot volcanic vents that gush energy-rich chemicals from the ocean floor. Simple organisms that still live around these vents today are probably very like the earliest living cells on Earth. As soon as life began, it started to change. Living things thrive by making copies of themselves. But these copies were not exact. Over time, the differences generate new forms of life. And this process of change, called evolution, has created the diversity of life on Earth. Every living thing is slightly different from its parents. If this difference helps it to survive, it is likely to pass on the advantage to its own young. And this is the basis of evolution. Many years later, it may lead to a change that is large enough for the result to be called a different species. On this picture we can see birds. Here is the first bird, and the other birds originated from this first bird. And when we are looking at the bill of this bird, we can say that the ancestor cracked seeds with a thick bill. And then we have differences. A probing bill that pulls seeds from flowers. A pointed bill used to peck insects. Here a woodpecker uses a stick in his bill to dig out prey. Here a hooked bill used for slicing through fruit. And here this bird with an overbite bill, perfect for digging grubs. We know that life has evolved over time because rocks contain evidence of different life forms that thrived in a distant past. These links with the vanished world are called fossils. Typical fossils preserve the forms of bones, teeth, and shells. And by comparing them with those of familiar animals, we can piece together the story of evolution. Every new fossil that is discovered makes the picture clearer. The scientists who study fossils are called paleontologists. They are experts at finding, identifying, and preserving fossils. They can also work out how old each fossil is and how it fits with the story of evolution. They often have only fragments to work with, but a single bone can be a crucial clue. The history of life is not a story of steady progress. Living things have faced many global disasters caused by things like asteroid impacts and climate change. Some of these disasters have left very few survivors, which had to live in an altered world. This has changed the direction of evolution several times. So, new types of animals and plants have evolved, while others have become extinct. For about 84% of life's history, and it is about 3.8 billion years. The largest life forms were microscopic bacteria. When complex life appeared, the pace of evolution accelerated to create a dazzling variety of species. Here we can see Earth formation. In the beginning, for 3 billion years, only the very simplest single-celled forms of life existed on Earth. Multi-celled life, the first animals, only started evolving 600 million years ago. Since life began, there have been 5 mass extinctions, catastrophic events that killed off a large proportion of life on Earth. After each extinction, life recovered slowly, and new types of animals, plants, and other living things appeared. These extinctions were caused by natural forces, but evidence suggests that we are in the early stage of a 6th mass extinction caused by human activity. 440 million years ago, Ordovician is the name of this period of time, or Ordovician, and it was the first extinction. This extinction destroyed 60% of the species living in the oceans. At the time, there was a little, if any, life on land. Then, 358 million years ago, in the period of time called Devonian, more than 3/4 of the species were wiped out, and life in shallow seas was most badly affected. At the end of the Permian period, about 250 million years ago, life suffered a global catastrophe that almost destroyed life altogether. Very few species survived. 96% of all life vanished. Then, in Triassic period, about 200 million years ago, and it is the first period of the dinosaur era. Which ended with an extinction that killed off most of the dinosaurs' competitors. The mass extinction that destroys the giant dinosaurs at the end of the Cretaceous period, 66 million years ago, was possibly caused by an asteroid impact. In the past 500 million years, more than 90% of all life on Earth has vanished. Here on these pages we have so-called timeline of life, and it is very interesting. We will see what happened on Earth and who lived on Earth from the beginning of life, or to be more precise, from the beginning of Earth formation 4.6 billion ago to the present day. Life has existed on planet Earth for 3.8 billion years. And over the time it has evolved into many, many forms. From microscopic bacteria to giant dinosaurs. Now first, let me tell you a couple of words about this interesting picture. We can see some different colors, and here is the key for these colors. Red is the color of early Earth. Then we have blue color that describe Paleozoic era. Then we have green color that describes Mesozoic era. And at the end we have a pink color, and it is a Cenozoic era. So the life is going in this direction. Here to the present day. The periods are here from Precambrian, Cambrian, Ordovician, and so on. So let us speak about these periods. Precambrian is a period from 4.6 billion to 541 million years ago. It is a huge stretch of time, and this period includes the 3 billion years when only the simplest single-celled life forms existed. The first animals evolved near the very end of the Precambrian period. Early volcanoes erupting and water vapor from these eruptions created the oceans where life evolved. The other very important moment is when space debris bombarded Earth in the early Precambrian, including icy comets that melted into the oceans. From 541 to 485 million years ago, we have Cambrian period. fossils of complex animals become common in rocks of the Cambrian period, at the start of Paleozoic era. Many of these creatures had evolved with hard shells, which is why they survived as fossils. And this is the picture of Marella, about 1 inch or about 2 centimeters long creature that lived on the seabed. It had jointed legs like a crab and spines running along its body. Then we have Ordovician. Ordovician is also correct to say. This period is from 485 to 443 million years ago. Life flourished on the oceans during the Ordovician. Many different types of fish evolved during this period, along with other animals such as trilobites. But the Ordovician period ended with one of the biggest extinction events in history. Here we can see a fish called Sacabambaspis. This armored animal had very close set eyes that faced forward. It had no jaw bones like all the earliest fish. Now we have come to the period called Silurian or Silurian, from 443 to 419 million years ago. The Silurian period saw the appearance of the first bony fish with movable jaws. Meanwhile, life had spread on the land in the form of simple green plants. We can see here one called Cooksonia, and it is found in most parts of the world. Cooksonia was one of the oldest plants to have stems. Next period is Devonian, from 419 to 358 million years ago. The Devonian is known as the age of fish because so many new types evolved. Some of these fish gave rise to four-legged amphibians that were the ancestors of all land vertebrates, such as reptiles and mammals. And here we can see Drepanaspis, and the head of this armored, jawless fish was covered with a broad flattened shield. It grew to about 14-inch long, or 35 centimeters. Here we can see other fish. Rolfostius. This long-snouted fish was a late Devonian shellfish eater. After Devonian, we have a period called Carboniferous from 358 to 298 million years ago. In that period, life on land flourished with dense forests of tree-sized primitive plants. Insects and spiders were common in that time and were hunted by large amphibians. Here we can see Lepidodendron. Growing to 100 feet or 30 meters or more. This Carboniferous tree had bark with a scully pattern. And here is a picture of Manganura, a dragonfly-like insect, and it has 29 inches or 75 centimeters wingspan. Very, very big insect. Last period of Paleozoic era was Permian period from 298 to 252 million years ago. And the Permian saw the dominance of reptiles and the ancestors of mammals, but also ended in a catastrophic extinction. Here we can see Dimetrodon and the fossils of this sail-backed carnivore are among the most common fossils of this period. Now we come to the Mesozoic era. And in this era we have Triassic period, we have Jurassic period, and we have Cretaceous period. Triassic period is from 252 to 201 million years ago. In that time, life recovered slowly from the Permian extinction that ended the Paleozoic era. But by the end of the Triassic period, the first of the dinosaurs had evolved, along with the earliest airborne pterosaurs and the first true mammals. These long-necked dinosaurs, called plateosaurs, could reach up to gather leaves high in the treetops. And here we can see Eudaimorphodon, one of the earliest pterosaurs. Eudaimorphodon had wings of stretched skin and probably flew well. Morganucodon is on this picture, and it is the small insect-eating animal and one of the first mammals on planet Earth. Morganucodon. After Triassic period, we have Jurassic period from 201 to 145 million years ago. The dinosaurs flourished during the Jurassic period, rising to become the dominant animals on land. And they included gigantic plant eaters and powerful predators. Here we can see Allosaurus, about 25 feet or 7.5 meter long animal, armed with knife-like teeth. Allosaurus was well equipped for hunting the huge plant-eating dinosaurs of its time. The last period of Mesozoic era is Cretaceous period, from 145 to 66 million years ago. And this period saw the evolution of the first flowering plants and some of the most spectacular dinosaurs. We can see here Archaeanthus flower, small-sized plant that had flowers like those of a modern magnolia. Cretaceous period ended with a mass extinction that wiped out the big dinosaurs and ended the Mesozoic era. By the end of this period, we can see many small predatory dinosaurs with feathers, just like those on birds. Here, this one is called Codapteryx. The last era that even we are living in is called Cenozoic era. And in this era we have three periods. First is Paleogene from 66 to 23 million years ago. Then it is Neogene from 23 to 2 million years ago. And then we have Quaternary period from 2 million years ago to the present day. Let us start with the Paleogene. In this time, climate was slowly cooling, and mammals evolved rapidly to take the place of the extinct dinosaurs. And here we can see Uintatherium. It is a mammal in the size of a modern rhinoceros, and it was a plant-eating mammal. Uintatherium. After the Paleogene period, we have Neogene period. In this period, the cooling climate trend continued, and modern types of mammals and birds appeared. And the ancestors of humans evolved in Africa, and we call them Australopithecus afarensis. This early hominid could have been the first to walk upright 4 million years ago. And the last period of Earth is Quaternary. This period of dramatic climate changes has had long ice ages with warmer phases like the one we live in today. Despite this, modern humans, Homo sapiens, slowly spread all around the world. And here we can see Homo neanderthalensis. And these tough, strongly built people were adapted for life in icy climates. But they haven't survived. With this, we will conclude today's session, and we have a very interesting second part of our today's story, in which we will speak about dinosaurs, especially about Tyrannosaurus Rex, and we will at the end of the next session speak about fossils in detail. Thank you for your attention. Good night and sleep well.